Hello, ladies and gentlemen, crypto deep divers. Welcome back to Weekly Crypto. Today, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. Also, I will touch on gold and silver as well. And of course, we're going to touch on coronavirus. And before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to my channel so don't miss out the upcoming token swap or token stacking process. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, patreon.com, and also library.tv as well. For library.tv, you can basically earn library token just by joining library.tv and watching video as well. And Patreon, I just published a video yesterday about where to buy gold and silver right now, because right now we have a high demand of physical gold and silver, and because of the QE infinity, so that's one of the reasons why people will fight for safety right now. And basically there's a decoupling of gold and silver, basically versus paper, decoupling of paper gold versus physical gold, and same as silver as well. So and you can check back my videos. If you're a Patreon member, you can check my videos, what type of gold coins or silver coins you should buy. And not a financial advice, use your due diligence. I'm not your financial advisor. And so let's talk about Bitcoin quickly. So if you watch my previous video, probably 6 days ago, I talked about a potential Bitcoin pump. At the time, Bitcoin was around 5,000, something like that, right? And everybody was so bearish at the time. And I talked about there's a potential pump. And well, this is exactly what happened. They pumped to around 6,000 something. This is because of I talk about that, it's because of the BTC USD short position. At the time, it was right here. So because with so much short position, they need to pump the price to liquidate all this short position. And of course, Bitcoin, gold, and silver are highly manipulated by the future contracts, right? So future contracts are basically they settle in cash. They don't have to own physical gold to do the future contract, because this is just a speculate based on a future price. So this is how they manipulate the gold, silver, uranium, and Bitcoin as well, unfortunately. So and also I'm going to talk about, this is article from Super Crypto. And in case you don't know, Super Crypto, he made the right call about Bitcoin, right? Back in 2017, December, everybody is so bullish, it's going to the moon, and Bitcoin was at 20,000. And he basically saying that there will be a 95% correction. I think at the end it's like somewhere 85% correction. But the thing is, at the time, everybody is so bullish, and he is the only one who is bearish, and he made the right call. And now he talked about Bitcoin could hit 1,000 if coronavirus crisis get worse, and cartel are initiating crashes to frighten retail investor and keep them away so they can accumulate more Bitcoin. The real crash hasn't happened yet, and this was just a dress rehearsal. And I think this article published on March 16. I was kind of busy at the time, so I haven't had time to talk about this. And so of course, he always Super Crypto always controversial whenever he published something, right? And everybody disagree with him. And last time he made the right call, but I'm not sure if this time he also make the right call. We'll see. And so he talked about, so what do you think about the ongoing coronavirus threat and response in the market means for Bitcoin during the next few weeks? And he talked about COVID-19 is going to be the main driver for all the markets, stock, gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And if the global situation improve, 3,850 will be the second bottom, right? Remember, we have the previous bottom at around 3,002 back in December 2018. And so we'll see. How do you think Bitcoin will ultimately go during this period? He basically saying that all depends on COVID-19. If it improves, then 3,850 is the bottom, right? If the situation get worse, it's possible for Bitcoin to revisit 3,000 and below. It depends on how bad the lockdown in the US become and how effective the countermeasures are. basically social distancing and all that. I don't think people are taking social distancing seriously. I mean, 6 feet. When you go to the store, people are not keeping 6 feet, and people keep on talking on the cell phone, blah blah blah, and all this like droplets like flying all over the place. Seriously, I don't want to be kind of crazy, but they should take it seriously. If you go to shopping, just don't say anything. Just be discreet. Just in this critical times, just buy your stuff and get out of the store. And then people are socializing in the store. Hey, this is not the time you're socializing. You can socialize on the phone, okay, or over the internet, but not face to face. And they are not like 6 feet apart. They probably less than 1 feet, right? I don't know. And I don't know. But people are not taking it seriously. I don't think they take it seriously. Of course, some people take it seriously, and of course, the mainstream media right now talking about it almost every single hours, right? At the time back then, probably 8 weeks ago, nobody will even talk about these things. And I already talked about that these things could be potentially serious, and nobody pay attention at the time. And now people finally realize, waking up, right? But it's too late. Too little, too late. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But anyway, so he talked about the economy is going to be severely damaged, of course, because of the lockdown. But right now, Trump administration talking about reopen around Easter time, right? Easter. But I'm not sure if it's going to happen because in China, they locked down almost like 2 months, right? January, February, and they reopen probably March. And I'm not sure. So right now they just starting the lockdown 2 weeks ago. So I think it's too soon. April. Probably you're talking about May, maybe May, the end of May or mid of May, or if you're very optimistic. If not, it will probably until summer or June or something like that. I don't know. So it's really depending on how things going. But it doesn't look good in New York's right now, and the healthcare system is out of PPE, the personal protection equipment, no gowns, no masks, not enough gowns, not enough masks in the hospital, and even sanitizer is running out. This is getting crazy anyway. And so he talked about that because of the QE, so it will provide a big ammunition for a future rise in Bitcoin price, of course, along with gold and silver as well. And did you realize, he's saying, did you realize Bitcoin could go this low because of the outbreak and its impact? And if so, when? And he said he always inclined to believe that it would be hard hit before the halving. Before the halving. The halving is on May coming up. So he talked about the invisible hand. The cartel have major interest in keeping Bitcoin under control with a new bottom 3850, and he believed the price after halving may be at 10K. I'm not surprised, but based on historical data, actually they pump the price up to the halving, and then after halving, they will have a sell off. That is based on historical data. I'm not sure if this time is true because we have some other factor coming in because of this coronavirus. I don't know. And then the recent dump was supposed to be only up to 7,000, and the drop to around 3,005 was a fresh crash event created by cartel. The real crash hasn't happened yet, and this was just a dress rehearsal. Interesting. What do you think? Do you think this is just a dress rehearsal, or we are done with the crashing? Let me know. Please comment below. I would love to hear from you. And does Bitcoin's recent price action damage it fundamentally? He said not at all. Everything, of course, long-term fundamental Bitcoin price is pretty good. And I agree with that. I'm pretty bullish in terms of long-term. And in short term, of course, there's a lot of volatility right now because of the uncertainty of the coronavirus. And he talked about, do you believe that we are going to have approaching a full-blown of recession? If so, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Of course, it's possible because everything is locked down. And of course, there's no productivity. Recession is possible, And don't forget, you have a highest long stretch of economic boom for the last decade, right? Since 2008, after the financial crisis, all this free money, easy money going to the real estate, going to the stock market, right? And now they are doing QE infinity once again. So that's crazy. And of course, if there's a recession, Bitcoin also go below the recent bottom. And of course, he wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin in the range of 2,000. If a depression arrives, Bitcoin may go below 1,000. And I'm not surprised at all. If things get really worse, anything is possible on the table at this time. But I could be wrong as well, right? And of course, you can see Bitcoin mining company at the time. If Bitcoin go to 1,000, they were cutting staff. Of course, they will shut down their machine because they cannot turn a profit, right? Because I think the cost of producing a Bitcoin is in the North America is like around 6,000. I mean, in China probably around 3,000 or something like that, right? And it really depends on the geographic location, but on average, like the cost of producing mining one Bitcoin is like 6,000 in general. But I think in China is around 3,000, something like that. So we'll see how it goes because there's so much volatility right now. So I don't know, but you never know. But the thing is, the whole important thing is that if they meet the indicators, I will buy. So I don't look at what other people think. If they are oversold that much, I will buy. Seriously, I mean, if you go back to my previous video, I already let's see. Yeah, I go back to my previous video. I talk about maybe it's a good time to buy at the time when the fear index is go like a single digit, like 9 or 5, right? So when people are so fear to buy, so fearful to buy, then you should go and buy, right? Just do the opposite what people thinking. I think this is what I've been doing. And when people are chasing something, I'm not going to buy. So so of course, depression and then hyperinflation is possible because of the QE, right? The QE infinity, and they basically printing all this printing press coming out once again. And because of the lockdown, a lot of people are looking already on some type of unemployment benefits already. So where does this money come from? Probably from the printing machine, printing press eventually. I mean, if more and more people apply for the unemployment benefit. And of course, hyperinflation will be coming up. I'm not surprised because you are giving the money to the average Joe, right? So because the previous QE, all this money stay in institution. But right now, the QE infinity is going to average Joe. If everybody have so much money, what will happen? And of course, the price of your daily necessity will be more expensive because you have more money, and the goods is because you have more money, right? And then everybody want the same products or want the similar stuff. The basic necessity, the groceries, all these things will be going higher because of the inflation, because everybody has money to buy, right? And of course, hyperinflation, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and other altcoins will also go higher as well, right? They will rally. And right now we'll see, he's talk about a potential flash crash to a Bitcoin down to 1,000. Do you think it's going to happen? Please comment below. I would love to hear from you. And don't forget, halving is coming up probably in May, the end of May, something like that. And of course, China talk about because they reopened back in March, right? Even though they haven't really controlled the epidemics, and then they reopened in March. A lot of factories still shutting down because after they reopen for 1 week, they have tons and tons of infections between their workers. They have to shut it down again, and because of the reopening and all that, there's a lot of cross infection between workers and the communities. And right now we're talking about second wave of infections coming up in China. They talk about as many as 14% recovery coronavirus patients in China have tested positive once again. And of course, a lot of them without any symptoms. They're the hidden carrier or hidden spreader in the community, and then they spread it to the family. And unfortunately, and he also talked about research showed that between 3 to 14% of patient diagnosis with coronavirus after already clear after they tested negative, and then they now become positive once again. I don't know. This is insane. And of course, and no symptoms, and then they tested positive once again. I don't know. This is crazy. Maybe the virus are hiding really well deep down inside the lungs, because the testing is just swabbing your nose, swabbing your back of the throat. That is just testing the upper respiratory tract, but the lower respiratory, you cannot test it unless you are in the hospital. They're going to use a bronchoscopy to go down all the way to the lungs to get the tissues. But those procedures are only done in the hospital, especially in the ICU. And of course, they're talking about here saying that this is in March 27. I mean, lung damage in coronavirus patient who had no symptoms. Hey, this one I talked about this at least 10 weeks ago, right? Did I not tell you that? You have no symptoms, and yet the CT scan showed there's a damage already in the lungs. So this is a dangerous part of the coronavirus, right? And if you use the flu or SARS, it has symptoms, and then but this has no symptoms, and yet yet the lung is already damaged. So I talked about this probably at least 10 weeks ago. I warned everybody that you got to take it seriously, because the lung damage is irreversible, and a lot of coronavirus patients recover from this virus. Some of them, they have shortness of breath, even though they when they try to walk a little bit faster, they have shortness of breath. There's some recovered coronavirus patients, so they lose their lung capacity, so that is very important, and that damage is irreversible, so it's not recover. So you got to be careful. So you just have to be very, very mindful what you're doing, and avoid all the high risk activities. But human nature sometimes is difficult. So they're talking about this 3D image, about all this. I mean, nothing new. So just FYI, I think the Western media is a little bit behind. Seriously, they talk about all these things we have been talking about in the last 10 weeks. And now they start talking about it. They talk about aerosol the other day. I already talked about aerosol the other day. I'm at least 10 weeks ago, actually, maybe 8 weeks. So everything is behind. Anyway, I don't know why. I mean, they don't take it seriously, or they don't care, or they think this thing is not going to happen in Europe or North America. I'm not sure why they think that way. And oh, by the way, Prince Charles also tested positive for coronavirus. That is interesting. The British royal family also got it. So this thing has no how can I say, even it doesn't matter you're rich or poor. If you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it, right? And I think he's 71 years old, is at a high risk group. If he got tested positive for coronavirus, I don't know if he has any symptoms. So it's interesting. So Prince Charles, I hope he did not spread to other royal family member. So and another thing is the media talking about all this all day long, and I think unfortunately create some type of anxiety or fear to the general public. I know this is important and all that, but the thing is, I think they create unnecessary fear. They should have talked about this probably 8 weeks ago, right? So people can do the preparation. Right now, there's no preparation. You got slammed with all this virus, especially the hospital, the clinics, and the urgent care, and all that. And they're out of PPE, unfortunately. So right now, everything is too late. It's too late. And then they talk about it almost every single day. I mean, I don't know. And all the mainstream media maybe have are owned by corporations. They probably have their own agenda. You don't know. So you got to be very careful. So I would just listen to them a grain of salt. I know right now, hospital in New York is pretty bad. This is true, but sometimes I think the mainstream media just talking about too much. I mean, they should have talked about this like 8 weeks ago, right? Why they don't talk about 8 weeks ago? Now they keep on talking about it. So I mean, everything is too late. They talking about it. It's too late, right? But anyway, let me know what you think about this. Please comment below. What do you think about the price of Bitcoin? Do you think there's going to be a fresh crash before the halving, or we are not going to have a flash crash. Please comment below. I would love to hear from you. And what do you think about the price of gold and silver in terms of the coupling between the paper version and the physical version? And I'm just wondering if you guys have also owned gold and silver as well. Please comment below. I would love to hear from you. If you find this video helpful, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, also share with your friends. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out the upcoming airdrop or token stacking process. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, library.tv, and patreon.com as well. And of course, it is important that you comment below. That will help my ranking in YouTube. I will continue to provide quality video for you guys. And remember, crypto deep divers, we the people take control of our money. Stay wise, stay safe, peace. I'm not a financial advisor. Investing in cryptocurrency, stock market, and commodity can have inherent risk. Please use your due diligence. Also, I'm not your healthcare provider. So if you have any questions or concern about coronavirus, please talk to your doctor. Thank you.